Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello.
Hi,
How's it going?
I'm good. Kids are asleep. The house is quiet. I have my drink and my snacks. I'm good.
Oh, wow. So, are you ready for our very first
That's why I have the drink. So yes, I am ready.
podcast? Okay, so, I guess we'll explain this a little bit. I'm Michelle, and you're?
I'm Mel.
Okay, so we're sisters, and we don't live in the same province anymore because you moved. So,
I know, I
where did,
suck.
where did you move to?
A little town called London, Ontario.
Yeah, the other London. Um, and I live and I live in Montreal. And basically, we've both been GH. Well, you first. You're the one who actually introduced me to GH. But we've both been GH fans for a very long time. It has to be longer for you because I think when
It
I count
has.
backwards, it's 20 for me. 20
Oh my
years.
God.
Isn't
Okay,
that
so is it?
insane?
Oh my God, it's insane that we can say 20 years about any
Yes, that's how
point in
I
time in
feel.
life because I still don't feel that I am worthy of that time frame based on my maturity level at
I'm
times.
proud. I'm proud, but only like any other GH fan would sort of get that.
Dude, I think I almost need to pull out my calculator. Like, this is sad. Hold
Well,
on.
I don't want to give it away too much, but it's just,
I know, right?
I
Okay,
used
so
to,
was it like my friend from high school, my best friend from high school who introduced us
yes,
to this? Okay, so it's
to
probably
you.
been probably about 24 years that I've
You
been
know,
on and off relationship with GH.
because I remember you guys were watching it in high school. So basically, I would come home when I was still in elementary school and catch the last like 10 minutes that you guys would see, and you'd be really into it. You'd have your French fries. And then when I started high school, I'd be basically racing home with you guys to start watching it. And that's when I really started watching it. Was basically when I started high school, I just followed along with what you guys were doing.
Okay, so my then best friend is still friends with me now, and we still talk about the French fries. Like, and we would put
Seriously?
the 5 minute fries. Yeah, we had the 5 minute fries and the barbecue sauce all over the French fries. And the reason she started watching it was because of a underwear model named Antonio Sabato Jr., who was
Yes, I
acting on it. So
remember.
that is why she was watching it, and that's how she presented it to me. And then I saw him, and I'm like, oh, I
Didn't
guess I
take
can
much
watch the show.
presenting.
Whatever.
Because I remember the coolest. I remember Ricky Martin.
Oh my God, yes. I
I remember
totally
Ricky Martin
forgot.
and Brenda, and that they used to film in Puerto Rico. I mean, it's vague, but I
Oh,
remember. I remember that. I remember. I think that's what I used to catch possibly before I started high school. I think that's what I would catch you guys sort of seeing. But yeah, it's been a very very long time, and I remember I converted mom because like our family, they were the whole as the world. This is when I
it was
realized
the guiding
our
light
family.
as the world
Yeah,
turned, Young and the
we grew up in
Restless.
soap operas and too many
Oh
because there was As the World Returns, Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful. And so I remember Guiding Light
and
was on
Guiding
at
Light,
3 o'clock. So
Mm-hmm.
was General Hospital. And over time, we would constantly flip it commercial. And then eventually I completely converted her over to just General Hospital.
Oh my gosh, because I used to do the same too. When my friend wasn't with us, I would switch back and forth. But when
Yeah,
I
because I
was
used to
with
watch
her,
Guiding
I would
Light.
purely watch General Hospital.
Yeah. And
And it's been
so
this. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it's been a long time, and I'm very thankful for the world we live in with DVRs because I was not going to mess around with a video VHS.
Yes.
Like I don't, I wasn't going to do that. Like when you get a job, you're in school, you watch it. You watch your soaps in the summer. High school was great because you finish in time to watch it after school. But then depending on your like CEGEP, well, college, university schedule, it's iffy. But I would say by the time I got to university and even work, I think I recorded it at one point. So there's a bout where I wasn't really watching it consistently until DVRs came into play.
That's true. Same here. Because so I went off, like, it was on and off relationship, always a love affair, but, I just kind of hop in and hop off. But one of our aunts recorded it on a daily basis
Yep. Yeah, she did. She really did. But
on
I would say
VHS.
Yeah, I credit that to her being an adult, and I was just kind of like, I
I
can't
know,
figure this
right?
out. Yeah. And so you watched it on and off, and you recently started
On and
back?
off. So I took a year hiatus when the whole Jason thing was happening. I was getting a little frustrated with all of
I
it.
can't. I'm
And
gonna let you tell this, but I mean, for me, I'm just like, how could you stop watching? I'm just glad you're watching, and I'm glad we're
I
doing this
know.
podcast because that is your massive incentive to stick with it no matter what.
I know. It's like a prescribed thing that I must do
Yeah.
every day now, which is nice to have. But for a year, I think it's also like my kids are young and I was tired and cranky
Oh,
and the
I get it.
story just took so long to unfold that I was like, no, I've had enough. I'm so frustrated. This is supposed to be my relaxed time, my happy place, and I am no longer happy watching it on a day-to-day basis. So I
I
kiboshed it along with a whole bunch of other things, but I was like, no, no more.
No, I still, like, seriously, even when I say, like, I watch nothing, I have no time, that always includes GH because it's seriously the one time I am not thinking. Like, I mean, now that we're doing this podcast and we're watching obviously in a different way because we're going to be talking about it. Well, I mean, it's sort of our regular conversations, but I mean, for the most part, when I watch it, I'm very much immersed in it. I'm very much in the moment. I'm not really, you know, foreseeing too much because like I'm there, you know. So I've always, to me, that's like the one thing I've always watched. Even when I say I'm watching nothing, that's what I'm watching.
I know, which makes it a great reference point. Ever since I've hopped back on board for like the past 3 months regularly, it's, Googling is all great and dandy, but it's really nice to have that, like, you're like a library for me. Like, I can ask you a question, and you can pull up not only in your little memory database an episode from like 3 weeks ago, but like from 3 years ago and connect the dots and all the stories as to
Oh
why it's
yeah.
the way it is.
Oh
So
yeah, Johnny, my
it's
husband, loves that ability of
phenomenal.
mine. He just pull things back from way far back. He loves it.
Oh, I bet. And the great
So
thing too now is like with Instagram and all of that, so I follow all of the
yeah.
actors that I like. So I almost feel like far more connected to them than I did before.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean,
So
I
viewing is
pretty much
different.
got Instagram, I think, because of you. And I mean, honestly, couldn't care less what my friends are doing. I pretty much just want to know what all the celebs around are doing because it's like, I don't, that's all I really, really want to do. And yeah, following my soap stars, I think you're the one who made me realize, oh my gosh, I could do that. And so that's really fun. You definitely feel more connected, and even more so recently with the Stone Cold and Jackal podcast starting. I feel like that too. It's kind of cool. You get way more of an insight into them acting, the soap world. So that's also been fun too.
It has been fun because you get a different perspective on certain characters. Like it or not, you're so immersed, like you said, in the
Yeah,
character. We know they're real people. We absolutely
I
know
do.
that. We
I
are not
do.
that far gone. But hearing their journey to where they are or what it's like on a day-to-day basis just like brings this human aspect to it and then
Yes,
allows you to watch it with a different set of eyes.
and I definitely want to really underline and highlight that we know that they're real people,
That poor
and we
child's not a
totally
real person.
sympathize with the real people. Like
Yeah.
Lulu, the girl who plays Lulu, I follow her on Instagram. She looks like an awesome, cool person, but I may not always like her character, and I might be passionate when I'm slamming certain characters, but I do get that they're real people, and that's very, very different. We know
Absolutely. So
that.
I want to touch base with the fact that yes, we're long-term fans and yes, I've hopped on and off.
Yeah.
And we did do like check one thing off our life list by going to see them in Boston.
Yeah, it was a fan thing. So it was mostly GH cast. So even though Steve Burton wasn't on anymore, he was there at the fan thing, and he was there with. This is so bad, but I don't know his
I
name.
know.
But I
Let's
mean,
just refer
but
to
he's
them
a.
by character.
I
Fine.
think Josh. Josh sounds right. I think it might be a character name, but he was from Young and the Restless, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and he was long time, like a long time character on Young and the Restless. He was
Absolutely.
there too.
And
It
then
was
for me, if it was
2014. I think. Was it?
it
Yeah,
was in and around that time frame because I was pregnant with my first babe and I was nauseous the
I
whole car ride
remember.
there.
I remember, and I was
Completely
getting
sick.
married because when we took pictures with like Dante, I was like, this would make a really good thank you for our wedding because this looks nice together. Yeah, that was so fun. Yes, I remember. it was amazing. Like you said, a whole bucket list thing, but I was mute. Completely
Yeah,
mute.
that was hilarious. Like, even when we talk about it now, you get super awkward when you look at the pictures. You
Yeah.
feel like giggle and have like that face.
It's
But it
just,
was,
I mean, you see them every day on TV, and then you're there in person. I'm like, there's nothing cool that could come out of my mouth at all. And I'm so nervous because I'm like, you're not people. Like, this can't be. And yeah, I was I knew I would be that way. You were just fine. You were like a normal human at saying hello when greeted. If you weren't there, I would have just been a statue. It would have been horrible if you weren't there.
well, I was like, you know what? These guys are, they put their pants on one leg at a time, I
Yeah,
hope.
you realize that there are people. I have not gotten there at
And
all.
I was still very much in awe. Like, sometimes it's like almost fake it till you make it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, we have so many connecting factors. We've been longtime fans. There are two Canadians. We can connect. One's from Hamilton and I'm from London. So like, there's
Yeah.
tons to talk about. But like, this is so great. We can
And
say
I
we're
took
from
a yearly
Montreal.
trip to Hamilton, and I still like
Exactly.
Hamilton. I can't.
No, honestly, like, I'm so glad we did it. It was not a cheap experience, but it was worth every single penny. And I'm so, so glad we did that before
I
all of
want
our
to, yes,
exploded with.
before our lives exploded with spouses and children. But I really, really want to do, and I mean, I think we'll try to plan for this, but I
Oh God,
definitely
yeah,
at
like,
the convention that they started, the JTON, I definitely want to go to there.
that is on my life
And
list. Cole and Jackal, like those two are like, we have to do it.
because they, I think you get to do a tour of the set. And I saw
That's like
pictures
amazing.
of people, and I was like, that looks so cool. So yeah, that's our next thing. We did the Boston thing, and that was amazing. Missed out on the Stone Cold and Jackal show when they were just here. It was honestly the worst. Listening to the podcast this week, them talk, like Steve Burton said he came into town like a day early.
No.
Yeah, and he was talking about Mount Royal and everything, and I was just like,
Oh
you're
God.
like
Like so
10 minutes from
close.
my house. Dad, my child's second
That is
birthday.
painful. Oh, that damn child.
But yeah, so it was really, really cool hearing that. So like you were saying before, it just feels like everything is closer. It's weird though. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's just compared to before when it's just this TV show that you watch on a day-to-day basis, and now with social media and all these shows, it's so different. It's so different being a fan now than before.
Absolutely. Like, it really takes, there's so many soap operas that unfortunately are off the air right now, and the fact that they've been
Oh
on
my
for
god, I don't know what I would do.
years.
Like,
I know, honestly. Like, it just brings it elevates what they do. They're
yeah.
incredible actors. The storylines in GH are, they really catch you. Yes, some things take a little bit longer to develop than others, but 50 years. That's insane.
55.
Oh, 55. There you go. 55. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like Sunny has been on for most of that time. And he's still a
Yes,
Sunday.
25. 25. Well, it was his anniversary. I'm really not this annoying just pointing out these facts, but it's
No, but I love it. It's great. That's I think going to be your role in.
I'll, I'll try not to be that. So, okay, so overall, huge fans now, started out in high school watching. Now we both have kids. So this is really, it takes a lot for us to be able to even watch and even to have this conversation. It takes a lot of like hiding from our families to even be able to do this.
Oh my God, yes.
Like everyone is in a separate room. So, and hopefully nothing explodes, no children start crying because it's nighttime right now. So yeah,
That's when
so
the
even
demons
having this
come out.
conversation, it's hard to do, but we're doing it this week. There's only 2 episodes, so which is kind of perfect for our first podcast. We can kind of ease into it, talking about these 2 episodes. So what did you think of this week? It was short, but I feel like there was quite a bit, massive cliffhanger for a Tuesday.
Oh my gosh, major cliffhanger. Was not expecting that at all. There was some really interesting lines and interactions. So I'm gonna let you go first.
I mean, I kind of enjoyed a Griffin sort of stepping up a little bit in his interactions with Ava. I just loved how he just really kept calling her on her crap. I thought that
Oh
was so
God.
funny.
Yeah.
Like he finally wised up to her. I mean, it's like there were times where I liked them together, and other times where I'm like, man, what are you doing? Like, this is just not gonna work. She's, and her constantly, I agree with her because she kept trying to be something she just really wasn't. And it's true. I don't think he ever really accepted her for her. He always kept talking about her like some rehabilitated human being. Um, but yeah, I really love that little child who talked about the blanket
Yeah, it was
and who
super
got her in
cute.
trouble. That was really hilarious. Um, but yeah, I thought that was really, really funny. I enjoyed their interaction a lot. And I just couldn't believe that she threw Julian under the bus. She just
Well,
couldn't
yes.
stop lying. She just
Well,
could
that
not
was the
stop
fun part.
lying.
Like, it just kept going on and on. And then she kept trying to explain, okay, well, I did it because I wanted to protect you. But the thing is,
What a lie. I was like
you
screaming at
put
my TV.
yourself, me too. I was like, Ava, you put yourself in that situation first. If you would never taken that picture, she would have never found it and she would have never started blackmailing you. So even though you felt that you were protecting him, you did it first. Like, I was screaming, you did it
But
first.
I don't even, like, even her taking the picture, I mean, in their conversation, he says, oh, you needed leverage. Honestly, I don't even know why she took it because she didn't even know what it was.
Exactly.
And the
Exactly.
taking a picture of those results, it doesn't really, I don't think she really understood how to use it. So I don't even know what she was doing there at all. I thought it was funny at one point. He was like, I knew it. I knew that that Carly was referring to you. And it's like, everyone knew she was referring to
Everyone
Ava. She's
knew.
Nell's only friend. That's
Yes.
literally the only person that would have helped her with all of that. And I just couldn't.
100%. Like,
But yeah, I mean, at least he's putting two and two together. But that was another thing, though. I'm just like, this relationship would have never worked. You can't. I mean, in their world, she has a frenemy. That's Carly,
yes.
and he's friends with Carly. That in itself, I feel like can't work. Your girlfriend hates this person, and you're just like, she's great. Your daughter calls her mommy. Like, that
I
can't
know.
work. That
He's
cannot work.
so, he's so like everything is well in the world that he forgets the reality. And exactly that. He puts a hat on her that doesn't exactly fit. Like he wants to see her in this beautiful way, in this like she can be a good person. She's done bad things. But the reality is she is a bad person. That is her character. And that's never going to change. She's going to want revenge. She's going to be mean and she's going to slip. That's
Which
just
is
who she
kind
is.
of fun. Which is kind of fun. And she just needs to go back to just being a bit more fun in that way. But I just couldn't believe that he threatened her
Oh my God, I
you,
was gonna say
to
exactly,
keep
I
her
was
in
going to
line.
say exactly that. And I loved her line back. She's like, are you blackmailing me into morally upright behavior? That was exactly what she said. And I was like, oh my God, that is a classic line. And I love it.
I thought that was insane on his part. I mean, obviously he has more in common with Kiki, but
Yes.
I've yet to see the chemistry. Like I see their friendship for sure, and they had more in common, and they would make a lot more sense. But I don't know. They haven't really done much to show the chemistry there. Obviously,
I
his behavior is
agree.
only going to make them like bond more. Should Kiki find out that her mother's the reason that he's not working?
Oh my gosh, so true. But he just has these puppy dog eyes that I can't really take seriously when he's trying to be like, like assertive or any of that stuff, or I don't see the magic. He's just like one look.
Yeah, I love Griffin. I really, really
I
do. But I
do.
love
I
it
do
when he
think
gets
everyone.
mad because it's like all he does is just talk louder. I find it really cute and stomps around. It's
He reminds
adorable.
me of, oh my God, what's her face? Who just screams all the time? That lives in the Quartermain house. That's
Oh my
the
God,
mother of the
Olivia.
little boy. Olivia, yes. She's just like
Yes.
one beat to
Yes.
that drum.
Yes. Well, I mean, in terms of all the yelling, I feel like the therapy session, did you not want to pull your hair out watching that?
Okay, but
That
first
was
of all,
so triggering.
it really was, but the fact that there was the guest star from Grey's Anatomy, I was like jaw on the floor. I was like, what is happening right now? This is going to be amazing. How is she going to fit into this whole soap opera acting situation when she's on Grey's Anatomy?
It's
Take
her
after.
second appearance on GH.
Okay, so for me, see, this is like brand new.
Because while she was doing her OCD storyline in Grey's Anatomy, she came on to GH as somebody with OCD. But I was like, it would have been really cool if she actually just played herself. And now she's coming back as
The
family
family counselor.
counselor. Yeah.
I liked her as the family counselor. I thought she was really kind of an interesting
She was so calm.
fit.
I'm like, seriously, how are you not taking sides right now? Because this one is
I know.
acting completely off the wall, and she's really putting words in everyone's mouth, and she's making it a hell of a lot more complicated than it needs to be. Like, it was, and she's a social worker. I was like, seriously, this woman is doing her job. Why are you attacking her for writing things down? She is supposed to.
Well, the funny thing is, it's like she plays this. I just picture her as like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's mom, and she was like the same
Yeah, there's that too.
there in here. So like, I take that character and I throw it on this character. I'm like, yep, this makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's true though. Sometimes it is hard because I'm like, you're Fresh Prince's mom. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously she's doing a really good job because
Yeah.
I feel it adds layers to her because we see her in her regular life. She's calm. She gives sage advice. She's
Oh,
very
when she's with
wise.
Mike,
But in
how
this,
wonderful it is, how she takes care of Mike when he had that like
yeah,
bruise, and how kind and so like passionate towards or sympathetic towards the situation, and just so like supportive. And I was just like, wow. So that was my first scene of seeing her.
yeah,
That's memorable. That sticks out of my head. And then there's like this side, and I'm like,
yeah. It's like a
crazy.
complete flip the switch when they're together. But I really loved it. It was really, really intense.
Mm-hmm.
I I
It was
don't
well
know.
done.
I don't know. I'm just like, I mean, Curtis is so patient, but I'm like, you gotta set boundaries. Like, this is just ridiculous because, like, I mean, you're just rehashing the same thing over and over. I mean, obviously they're all going, but it's just, to me, it was getting on my nerves because not that yes, she's not trying. And then she's, oh, I'm so sorry, Curtis. I'm trying. And she's being so reluctant. It's just like, stop your sob story. It's pick, move on, lady. But then, even though I say that because in that
Yeah.
moment I get so frustrated when I'm watching it, but then on the other hand, I'm like, well, how would I feel if my nephew was
Yes.
dating his brother's wife who cheated
But
on him with his best friend and then he got killed and now she's with you? I mean, she wouldn't be my favorite person, but I don't know if I would go all out nuts like this. I mean, there is the reality that there was things that she didn't know.
right.
She's a decent person now. She made up with her son. Everybody knows the truth. So there's that. And I mean, she got mad at her for sending her son away. And I was just like, now you're just poking at everything that she's saying. But it's true. She was
Yeah, that wasn't
undercover. The
right.
logic was she's undercover, and she had to send her son far away, not just to a relative down the street, but seriously far away so he was disconnected from what she was doing to keep him safe. And that's the thing. She wanted to have a life and have a child. You felt that you couldn't have a life in order to raise children.
Absolutely. Like, it was so, I mean, it was very impactful when she pointed out, like, you
Oh,
put your life on
yes.
hold, and that's why you're acting the way you do. But like, there's so many parts of that scene, like, I could almost make the whole show about this, because when she just sits and like tries to explain her whole life, like, yes, I did have an affair and I did do this, it's like, yeah, in real life, does this really happen? Like, everything that she did and where she is right now. And it was just, I kind of giggled at when they were explaining the whole background story for everybody to understand as to why the aunt is so upset. That kind of made me chuckle. But when she just like straight up pointed out, like, this is why I think you're acting this way. And Curtis, too, his reaction was like, oh my God, I
That
cannot
was
believe she went
amazing.
there.
It was so subtle, just his like movements
Yes.
to that. I really loved it. Like, I mean, yes, it was really, I was getting upset because I was getting frustrated because
Yeah.
no matter what Jordan or Curtis said, she just found a new way to attack them. So it was frustrating to watch, but it was so well done because it felt like a real a real therapy session. It was really insane. It was really insane. I liked it. I mean, I don't know actually how many episodes she's doing.
Okay.
As the therapist, I don't. I don't even know. I wonder if we're going to get more of those scenes.
I hope there's at least one more, just to kick off
Yeah.
like the fact that her life is untucked, and maybe we'll get to see her actually open up and be more human to the situation and acknowledge the fact that yes, there is some sort of like displaced emotion due to the fact that she didn't pursue. Because remember, like, at some point she said she could have pursued that life, or there was a love of her life, and she didn't go down that path because she was helping her sister. Well, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe it's time to like make you a human and explain a little bit more and figure that part out of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it would take a lot for her to admit that Jordan even has spoke some truth to her.
That's a good point. Like, I think it would almost have to be, I guess, like a separate by herself, maybe. But I think like there has to be some sort of like breakdown in order for them to
Yes,
have like
there has to
in the same
be.
direction.
And before I move on from this whole thing, what kept getting me on those scenes was the counselor is asking Jordan a direct question, and she's answering her, and she just jumps in and starts attacking Jordan. Just say it to my face. It's like you're in the same
I
room.
know.
If you want to talk directly at her, talk directly at her. But the therapist is talking to her because you don't want to have anything to do with anybody.
Oh my God, I almost spit out my beer there.
I'm like, oh my God, you're so nuts. You're so nuts. Anyways, yeah, we can go on and on about that one, but like my favorite, more like calm. I mean, we're sisters doing this, so I guess my favorite calm scene for the week was Christina and Sam just catching up and giving me hope because we were talking about this. I want Christina to stay in the show. She never stays for these long stints, so I have hope that she actually might be, given their conversation.
Me too. Like, and it's funny because the same thing. I watched that scene and I watched their interactions, and I was like, oh, how lovely is this? And this is probably an old set, but I was like, oh, look at the set, and they're sitting and having coffee.
No,
How
it's new. It's new. It's this new secret coffee shop that people go to when they don't go to any of the other places. When they don't want anyone else to know where they
to
are,
know.
they go to this one table. It's a coffee shop with one table.
Well, that is quite the coffee shop.
Yeah.
If I was a super stalker fan, I would really want to know where it is. With no grasp on reality. But I do. Yeah, I love the scene and same thing. Like when I was watching it and her saying like, I'll go with you or I'll fly with you
Yeah.
to come back. I thought how lovely I love, we talked about, or we do talk about the connection they have with that family and that never wavers, despite what happens, despite all the different fathers and all the different situations.
Yeah.
That family really sticks together and supports each other. And I do hope that they give Christina some sort of strong female storyline that fits very much with her character because she does have a lot of her father's, kind of
Yeah.
like way of being, and it would be really interesting to see how some storylines will play out with her there on a more long-term basis.
Seriously, I would have loved to have known how the Nell storyline would have played out with Christina in the mix. Because crazy knows crazy, and she would have seen that,
Exactly.
and
I
I would
know.
have loved to see, because like I mean, these are her brothers, so she would have been, I think, harder on her. Jocelyn was way less critical, I mean, for her own reasons, but I think overall Jocelyn would be less critical of any girlfriend, even if they didn't give her a body part. That's what I think.
Yes, like yeah, like you said, like she has that instinct, Christina, and she has the ability to kind of go full throttle. And maybe that's why she wasn't part of it. Like, we don't know what side project she had, but I think she would have really stole the thunder from Nell's story and her character. Because Nell played a good role, and she's a great actress, and she did amazing with
Oh
everything
my
she had.
god,
But
she
Christina
played
would have like
crazy
stole the show
so
100%.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she did.
I
It's
think so.
crazy.
She played crazy really well, but I would have loved to seen them go head to head. I mean, I would have to say, my all-time favorite scene, like the most satisfying, I think, close to a storyline, was this one, and having Carly go in like head to head with her in that interrogation room when she was like, I
Yes.
went after my brother's husband and I got him fair and square. I didn't have to drug him. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. This
I
is
know that
amazing.
was intense.
Yeah,
I was
because
like giggling to myself, like, go, Carly, go.
that was amazing because like I mean you have these huge storylines that build up and sometimes they don't always come to a close in the most satisfying way, and this one was very relational. It was so many relationships involved, and it was amazing to see her get to tell her off in the way that she would want to, because okay fine, I'm a little bit bitter, but the whole storyline with Elizabeth when she knew that John Doe was actually Jason, when that
Yeah.
storyline finally blew up, I don't know.
Oh, it was
I was
so
like,
sad.
I mean, I think Elizabeth, the person character, I feel like online that was really rough on her.
Mm.
Again, some people don't know the difference between, this is a soap opera in real life. But I mean,
Yeah.
yes, she played a character that for sure what her character did would, like she said it herself, it's going to make me a pariah in the town. And she was.
Mhm.
But like most pariahs, you have to be one for a bit. Like you have to have people actually hate you. And then you just sort of redeem yourself. And it's just like what bugs me about that one. I know this is like a long time ago. When Robin comes back, it's like she literally left her entire family, left her husband, left her child to save who she thought was Jason Morgan. She goes
Right.
back to town to find out that her friend sort of got all cray cray and hid him all to herself because she could never get him otherwise.
I know,
And
how sad.
Robin's like, whatevs. She's like, are you serious? I felt like even there, Robin should have had more to say to her.
That's very true. That should have been a little bit more like that whole, and maybe that's when I started to get like that whole thing to me was just like, and it was so lackluster when it actually all came out. It just kind of
Yeah.
sucked. It didn't have like this big, impactful, oh my God moment after like a year or a year and a half
Yeah.
of waiting for all of this to come out. You're just like, you're kidding me, right? Like this is it. I've seen so many storylines unfold, and this is how you're going to let this kind of come to be.
Yeah, I know. So I feel that the close of the No storyline, for me, that made it up to me. GH made it up to me with that storyline, but I'm still super resentful for how it ended with the whole Elizabeth hiding Jason storyline. That was insane. That was very insane.
It
So
was.
another kind of like tame for now, Drew and the DA. What do you think about their interaction?
Oh my
Why
God.
on
Okay.
earth I'm sorry. She obviously knows that flash drive is not the one because, as usual in a soap opera, you go in to talk to yourself and go find the
Well, yeah,
thing that
she
you're
went into the
hiding and rub it
vault.
up in
She
your
knows it's the
hands and
vault.
then put it back. So you
Well, that's
knew
what she
for a
did. Like, we saw
fact.
this the vault.
So you know it's there. You obviously put it there, make sure it's there. You know that the flash
Exactly.
drive there has nothing to do with him, and then you lie about it. It's kind of like they're really reaching to be like, okay, we need things for them to say
Yeah.
to each other, and as usual, because like I said, when I'm watching it, I'm in the moment, and even though I know it's a soap opera, and when someone sort of states the obvious, like states the truth, like, hey, could this be my memory? You talk about it an awful lot. Nah, it's like I mean, obviously it's one of those, but I was like, maybe no, disappointed. Yeah, it was just like, yes, that's exactly it, and then they kind of rip it away, which it's inevitable, but I don't know that storyline. The whole interaction was so like weird, and not because it was bad, but I mean like they're awkward, and I think it's meant to be that way, but it's just their relationship is so strained. I
It
don't even know how
is
they're
strange.
kissing. I don't even know. I
I
don't even
know. Like,
know.
well, the fact that she kissed him again when he was leaving the hotel room, it's like she is so desperate at this point in time to keep him hanging on for whatever reason with her sick obsession with him and the USB that she kisses him again. She's like, oh, is it okay if I kiss you again? It's like, this is so
I
weird. It
have
makes no sense.
I have to admit I was laughing because when she kisses him right before she leaves, she would not stop touching his abs. I was like,
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, I get it, take advantage for sure, but I thought that was so funny. I even rewound that. I'm like, what are you doing there? It was funny. I found that funny,
I'm
but I
gonna
was
have
just
to
like,
rewatch that part.
okay, so this is kind of like it for me. So there's some storylines where you're like, hurry up. And I think for me, it's because, I don't know, maybe you're a bit more interested in certain characters than others. But this one, the flash drive, I'm like, meh, okay, let it keep going, I guess, because Drew's Drew. He made his own character. And I
Exactly.
think it'll be cool if he gets to find out who he is or if he gets his memory back. But I feel like in this instance, the fact that it's dragging on, I'm not terribly concerned because I feel like the flash drive doesn't really make a difference at this point in the story. He has a son that he discovered, Oscar. So I don't know. It's all good. I'm cool with
I
this
agree.
one
It's
being
like a
dragged out a little bit.
backstory. It's like it's
Yeah.
definitely not a priority story. It's like definitely a backstory. Same with me. Like he has developed his own little life. He's working on his relationship with his son. Like there's nothing. He doesn't. portray his life like, oh my God, there's all these things missing.
Yeah.
When he gets his memories back, it's going to be like a bonus. It's going to be great. And it's going to be a catalyst for so many other stories for him to stay on. But for right
Hmm.
now, like, he's not like crying about his lost life and doesn't know what to do with himself. Like, he is living his life. He
And
is like the
Jason,
CEO of something, no?
exactly. And well, his brother's money and all that. But Jason reassured me as he was reassuring Carly that no, they can't get at him through the flash drive or whatever, the memories. They have Diane. So I'm like, okay, so I don't think you, because at one point I was all like, no, she's going to use maybe his memories are like bullet point on the flash
Oh my
drive.
God, could you
Body
imagine?
buried here, body buried there. But yeah, so I mean, I don't really think she could do much with it. So I don't know. All I know is that it's gonna blow up in her face because if he finds out she was hiding it from him.
Oh, yes. And that is, hopefully they will make it a very juicy scene to make a close to all these awkward kisses.
Yeah, maybe. And so, what are you thinking about? Um, See, this is the kind of storyline where you're like,
I
you feel bad about the
know where you're
baby
going with it.
switch. And
But
Johnny's like, is it over? Did Michael know it's his baby? I'm like, are you insane? This is a baby switch in a soap opera. It's going
I
to
know it's
go
gonna go
on.
on. But like I can't handle it. See, these are one of the things that like
It's
I just can't
hard.
handle. Let it be because it's Brad. Let it be because it's Michael. And I feel for him. And I mean, I know we listened to the interview on Stone Cold and Jackal where he said he did not want to be acting with a baby.
I
And
know, so that's
I
funny.
get it.
That's what keeps me going because I'm like, okay, well, at least that. But I feel horrible. Like, it's completely insane. Like, there's no way their marriage is going to survive this. Because remember, there was a scene where, like a bit ago, where they were at the crib and she was asking him something about his marriage. Like, are you guys okay? Because Brad was acting
Yeah.
weird and ran off because basically his baby died and he switched it. That would traumatize just about
You
anybody.
know.
I don't even know how these people drive around or do anything or function in life with the amount of
Function life,
stuff that
I
they deal
know.
with. And so he made a
Paralyzed.
point of talking about their marriage, like the fact that he's done shady things and he's past that. There's just no way their marriage is going to survive this.
No, there's no way. And I feel that Brad, like, and then where does that leave Brad? Because Brad is like this neurotic kind of person. He kind of gets dragged into doing all these bad things. Is he to the point
Hmm.
where, like, he's not an Ava. He's not a
No,
Sunny. He's not that can stand up on his own and have these evil things. So it's not like they could just like make him into a bad guy later. He's kind of that guy who
no, he's not a
falls
bad
into bad
guy.
things with it.
Yeah, he is. And I mean, it just, like, I want them to stay. Like, I'm annoyed because Brad could have had more of a storyline. There was one time where they were going to explore his past where him and Lucas couldn't get married because it turns out Brad is also from a mob family.
Oh
And he
yeah,
had
I
married
remember
somebody
that.
and there was like a reason why. And then they just completely
They
were
killed that
done with that
story?
storyline. It was Alexis was like, got your divorce. And I'm like, really? You made it seem like there was a reason that he couldn't get divorced because he was married to this nurse at GH. She had slept with Michael. She was acting like a spy. But anyways, so yeah, I'm kind of annoyed with that. But I just hope that like when the storyline ends, it doesn't really. I mean, I hope it doesn't mean an end to
To
them really,
Brad,
because
like
I'm
as a
happy that they're back.
But see, the thing is, like, so many couples, like, even Julian and why am I forgetting her name right now? It's totally escaping me.
Nero or Alexis?
Alexis.
Okay.
Alexis, like, they even still have a chemistry and look at all the things that he did. So nobody's to say that, like,
Yeah.
Brad and Lucas are, like, over. They're kind of just might be over for a little while until
See,
something else
they
more
have
happens.
chemistry. Alex and Julian. Kiki and Griffin, they're not there yet.
No, really not. Good
At
point.
all. At all. But yeah, so Lucas and Brad, I don't know, not much to say. I mean, I think we know that
Same
they'll
here.
probably keep the baby and then, because that's the thing, I thought it would come out because the mom would want him back. So it would mean
Me
like, okay,
too.
this is short-lived baby swap. But if it's not that, it's always usually like a medical thing that
Mhm.
ends up happening. I don't know. But
Well, now, okay, so now there's like, I don't know, it doesn't affect it. Anyways, I'll let you continue. I had a thought there, but I don't think it will specifically apply to the story. And I may just hold on that conspiracy theory till a little later on.
okay. But yeah, so I just think it's gonna be hilarious as they start to see the baby look more and more like Michael. It'd be funny if they're like, this
Exactly.
baby looks like now.
Well,
Odd.
Mike said when they
Yeah.
were at the baby shower, he specifically pointed out like, oh my gosh, Michael, this baby looks so much like you. And everyone's like, you're crazy.
Yeah. I
It's
hate
like,
when they
no,
do
the
that to
dance,
people that
dance
are, yeah,
teller.
yeah. I know. I felt so bad that whole thing. Um, so the Kevin storyline. So this is the one we were talking about where I was like, so Johnny was right about the
No, but I'm
Kevin
so
switch.
confused. But that scene is so confusing. Was it a flashback or like a now scene?
The one where
I
they're in
was so
the
very
insane
confused.
asylum?
Yes.
That's now. So that's the thing. So as soon as we knew that there was this mystery person, I thought it was Morgan for a split second. That they were gonna bring somebody to play him, and then Johnny just like walks by the TV and he's like, "Okay, it's probably Kevin." I'm like, "What?" And all he knows about Kevin is just what I've told him. Like he doesn't watch it. Yeah, well, I mean, he's watched it in the past. So I'm like, no, what are you talking about? And I'm like, his brother is dead, and he's totally right. Obviously, as we kept watching, it's Kevin. So I don't even know what to think because he kept his brother captive.
I know. And I'm like, okay, but he's supposed to be the good brother. And then
Right.
him captive for all these years because he wants to quote unquote help him. Like, I am so very not sure how to feel about the situation.
I know because I
And
like Kevin.
exactly. And he is that like lovable, likable, has helped people throughout the years. And when they did some of those flashback scenes, like super cute, super handsome, and some of those flashback scenes were like crazy scary and good for him for being a good actor.
Yeah, they were, and I was so thankful for the recap because I didn't see those and I really didn't feel like reading about like Googling it. So I really appreciated the recap. I thought it was so cool when they get to do that. That's what I love about a soap opera is that if the person has been in it that long, we actually get to go back to the original and see it firsthand. But yeah, I really don't know what to think because obviously the bad brother is gonna come out and right now Felicia is kind of primed a little bit. She's already thinking
Yes.
about the whole
Oh,
trauma. So I mean, oh no, I don't know. I just had a thought because in my mind I'm seeing the scene where he stole Georgie. I really hope he doesn't touch
oh my
Maxie's
God.
baby.
You know what? That is definitely some serious foreshadowing, and it's awesome that you brought that up because exactly that. The three of them were standing in the park. She's pushing the stroller. She went for a stroller. Did she go like alone at some point? She's like, oh, I
Yeah,
just
she
need
went to
to like
go
clear
see
my
the
head.
ducks. Yeah.
She went to go see the ducks, and then they flash to the scene where he like hits Kevin or there's like a fight scene, and then you know something's gonna happen. So she's still quote unquote on this walk, and we know that time and space doesn't matter in Port Charles. So that is maybe something that might happen.
Ugh, poor Maxie and that baby. They've been through enough.
I agree, but the thing is, like a character like Maxie or like a Michael, sometimes they just pick characters and load them up with violence.
You just said Maxie and Michael.
Oh my God, did
Do
I
you
like
remember?
just
Do
put
you remember the
something without?
Lamaze? Well, because in the Lamaze class, he was helping her at one point.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I would have never in a bajillion years seen that, but he's cuckoo like her mom, and he's all like Jason, so having them together. But that would be weird because he's friends with Spinelli. That would be odd.
Yeah, that would be weird. That would be really weird.
That would be really odd. Okay, so I guess we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with Kevin. It's gonna be, it looks like a dark storyline. Kind of cool though to have a dark psychotic. I can't believe I'm saying this, but like a dark psychotic storyline because sometimes if they're really extreme, it's like especially with Dr. Obrit, like the things that she does
That's
with these,
true, yes.
or the Cassidines with the weird science. So it's when you have a storyline like this that is more, I can't believe I'm saying this, but a bit more realistic, like having this psycho killer. Sometimes that's kind of interesting too and fun to have, and a bit
I
more
agree.
scary.
It is. It's kind of scary. Like he does that whole creepy thing far too
Really
well.
well, really
And that
well.
murder scene, like from that the flashback really freaked me out.
See, that's scary. But then pan to Nina hugging Valentine, and he makes that evil look after she finds out her mom's dead. And my reaction is, did that man just kill her mother? Are you serious?
I was thinking that too. I'm like, oh my God, did he seriously do that?
See, when it comes to Valentine, you're like, not again. It's just, he
He's
does
that guy.
he does these crazy things. And there's moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, Nina, like he's lying to you. Like you don't know this. And I don't like that he makes her out to be a fool by hiding these things. But on the other hand, I'm like, they're so good together. And I don't know, he's just so smooth that like you're just like, oh, whatever. It's just Valentine. Killed your mom.
It's
It's
true though.
fine.
I do
It's
like them together.
fine.
Like I know I feel like they're going to end up back together in some
Yeah,
fashion
for
or another.
sure.
Maybe
Well, the
not
daughter will do it,
sooner.
I think. If he finds the daughter, I think that'll do it.
I think so too, but I think, like we had discussed, she really turned her life around. She has made this wonderful life for herself, and they just match really well, and there's chemistry, and even though he did some really crazy stuff, maybe she can get over it and they can get back together. People have done worse than soap operas.
I know. I 100% think that they're going to get back together. I think it's just going to be one of those, we'll just get married a ton of times or almost get divorced a ton of times.
Yeah, I agree.
So, are you ready for the cliffhanger?
Okay, not yet though, because I feel like
Okay.
we need to give a nod to one more little
Which one?
situation. Sonny and his dad.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. They're just so good. Like I love, like I said, I've told you this. I mean, it's a huge, huge switch from the whole mob stuff coming from Sonny to then watch him do like day-to-day things. It's so, so cool. It's so cool to watch. It was just, I felt so bad for him when he set off the alarm. It was super funny to watch Sonny be all frantic and you're like, oh my God, he took a nap. Like that you could see that this is happening. It's a soap opera, but it's so like the mundane things that is just so cool because you don't see that, there's always something dramatic happening. And even when it's slow, it's still, dramatic stuff that they might be talking about. But just to watch the scenes with his dad, I find it so much more real life. And it's really, really amazing to see. And it's just such a cool storyline. I really like that one.
And that's a good point. Like you touched on that with, weirdly enough, the psychopath, but I understand what you mean. Like there's all this drama, and it's part of the reason why I watch the soap opera. It's so
Yeah.
unrealistic and it's so far-fetched, and you get so lost in it. But then these real moments that they've interjected throughout these storylines, like really humanizes the characters, and it's so relatable. And exactly that scene that you're talking about, like when the alarm got turned off and like the look in Mike's eye, like he is such an amazing
I
actor. Like I can't
know.
get over it. Like I am just in awe of him. And then Carly's reaction seems so genuine. Like I think like I know that in real life on Instagram, like she goes and visits her family quite a bit. And I think there may be some health issues with her parents because they're older. And I don't know if that played into anything of this scene, but when she put her arm around him and like she was tearing up, it just felt so real and in the moment, and just like I just want to cry.
She even does Alzheimer talks too. I think she did one. Like one of
Ah,
the events. I think she did one like that. Um, but yeah, no, it's a really good storyline. Exactly that. It's just very emotional and touching. That's one of Johnny's favorites. He obviously watches it in the background when I'm watching. But that's one that makes him tear up, even if he only catches a glimpse of it. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying that.
we might have to get his permission. We'll see.
So, okay. So the thing about the cliffhanger is that I'm getting scared because I rewatched it knowing what the cliffhanger was. I rewatched Tuesday's episode because it was on while the kids were around, so I was distracted. So I rewatched it.
Mhm.
I don't know, like maybe I'm reading too much into this, but upon rewatching it, the scene with Oscar and his mom was like a little extra. There was like
Yes.
music.
Oh my God.
And
Yes. Me too. I
then
was like, huh, this seems like different. Okay. And she's like, oh, it's such a good kid. I love him. And I'm like, oh my God, okay.
I can't even talk about it. Like, I can't even
Oh,
talk
I
about
didn't
it because
even
I'm
go
like,
there. Oh my God.
I'm
Oh my God,
hoping
I'm
it's
getting sad
just,
now. Stop.
I know. I'm really hoping it's just like, okay, it's just a thing happening and that's it. Cause I was just like, what's happening here? Because the reference of, let's say, Jason being his uncle, I know what's happened. Let's say when he's talked to Jocelyn and he realized who he was related to, she's like, oh my gosh, like, he's your uncle, blah, blah, blah. But I don't even know if they've ever really had an interaction, them two together. And then they were left alone together. I don't know. It was also different.
It was different. And like, okay, so I'm going to let you finish up and then I'll give you my take on before you even said all this
I
and
don't even
all
want
this
to
other stuff.
say
And
anything more. I'm a little
okay.
scared, so I'm gonna let you do this one.
Okay, so my take was entirely different. Like, I did think the scene with him and his mom was a little extra, but I kind of just like tossed it aside. And then the scene with him and Jason, I was like, oh, how interesting. Like, the dots slowly connected that yes, it is his uncle, but how similar, like, you can pick similarities. Like, he's obviously far more emotional, Oscar, but the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he is like the stable, stoic, I'm there for you no matter what. You're going
So
to be
her
a little
Jason?
crazy. Yes. So I more saw it as her Jason, and how Jason, Jason did have his car accident and he's had a number of brain injuries. So I just thought it was more like a connection to
Oh.
the Jason character and that history, and to kind of put that in perspective as to who he is in Jocelyn's life and how she will then feel for him.
Do you think something about his personality would change?
I think that the impact of who he is and what he can be in her life will stand out. I don't necessarily
Okay.
think it's going to have
Okay.
personality changes, but I think that she's going to start realizing the significance of who he is, how important he is, and no matter if they're boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever it may be, that he's going to be a staple in her life because their love runs deeper.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay, okay. I see. Totally. Just the bond that Carly has with Jason, they're establishing. I really, really hope that's it. I really, really do hope that's it because
Me
when
too,
I
because I didn't even
because
think
when I
about your perspective.
I didn't, honestly. Like, when I was watching it the first time, I was like, wow, Carly has a crap ton of albums for one dance because I was just like, and I'm like, she printed a lot of pictures. And, at the end it was a cliffhanger, but I was like, oh, okay, well, we may be having a seizure and okay, and Jason will take him, but I really did not think too much of it. It was that I just replayed it, and when it started and I was rewatching this scene with his mom, I started to get a little bit worried.
And I haven't read anything online, mind you. I haven't been
I'm
good. I've
not
had a
gonna.
crazy week that, I didn't check and see if like contracts are renewed or any other opportunities have come his way. Cause like my mind wasn't even there.
Yeah, I want him to stay. They're so cute.
Me
They're
too.
adorable, those two.
Yeah.
Anyway, so on a scared note, that's pretty much it for me this week.
Me too. Even though it was just 2 episodes, we had a whole lot to cover.
I know, I know,
And,
I know.
but that's a good thing, like we're getting our practice, we're getting all this in and, just preparing for next week.
Yeah. Okay. So to everybody, that one person listening, um,
Thank you.
thank you. And yeah, so I'll talk with you next week.
Yeah, hopefully all of our children sleep through the night and we can be human beings
Oh
tomorrow.
my gosh. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
All right, lady.
Okay. Bye. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.